What's up, this is Dr. Taylor at the Washington Wellness Center, and today's video is a quick how to measure blood sugar. Now that's something that we teach, that's really the purpose of this, is so that my patients can really watch this for a quick how to measure their blood sugar. Now we get people to measure their blood sugar and they find amazing things. They really get to know their body, and we just look at it. So let's get into it. So first off, why measure blood sugar? Well, here's a better question is why not? You know, it's a really easy way, it's a cheap way to really get to know your body. And metrics are great. I mean, we love metrics, but the metric that most people know is like their weight, which is a horrible metric, or sometimes now they're starting to know like their steps that they took, which is like, okay, but if you can really get to know your body through lab work is really important. But how about lab work on a daily basis? That's why you measure blood sugar. Now, blood sugar and insulin regulation is associated with everything today. So this isn't a all-inclusive webinar about blood sugar. We have other webinars about blood sugar, but I just wanted to skim through the importance and the value of this, that blood sugar control, insulin control, blood sugar regulation is certainly affects metabolism. I mean, it basically is metabolism. Is how well is your body using its fuel sources to produce energy. And insulin resistance is certainly going to affect metabolism. Inflammation, the root cause of most of our chronic diseases today. Hormone balance, especially, PCOS, the #1 cause of infertility, is well known to be a disease of insulin resistance. So blood sugar control can lead to such things with reproductive hormones like infertility and PCOS, but also adrenal issues. We see a ton of adrenal issues. Insulin is obviously a hormone, so diabetes is certainly a concern, but hormone health really affected by poor blood sugar control. Brain health, for sure. Their brain fog, for sure. Getting fatigued after a meal and just being, kind of insulin resistant. They're dubbing Alzheimer's and dementia type 3 diabetes because it's insulin resistance of the brain, insulin resistance of the neurons, to be able to use blood sugar for energy and create thoughts and memories and things like that. Liver health, for sure. And then, it's associated with cancer, with heart disease, with diabetes, with autoimmune diseases, with Alzheimer's. And, right there with those 5 things, we're talking about lots and lots and lots and lots of Americans dying each year from these things. We're talking about lots and lots of American dollars being spent on these things. And I've heard it hypothesized that you could pretty accurately predict somebody's health span by their blood sugar, by knowing their blood sugar. So really, really fascinating stuff. But that's why hopefully you understand that it's you're going to get value from it. Now, when to measure? All the time. There is no good answer to this, all the time. So some examples, before and after meals. What you don't want to do is just measure it every morning. You're like, well, it's 88 today, it's 95 tomorrow, it's 92 the next day. It's like, you're going to get pretty consistent readings, but it's very dynamic. In the future is going to be 24-hour glucose monitoring. That's already becoming the future for type 1 diabetics and soon to be type 2 diabetics and different things. But before and after meals. So maybe you see before a meal you're 95 and after a meal you're 125. Well, then where are you 60 minutes after a meal? Where are you 2 hours after a meal? I've had patients uncover some really interesting things of like with some meals, there's a spike and then it comes back down and it's like an hour later they're back to normal. With other meals, 2 hours later, it's still elevated. And so when they bring that to me, we're just looking at it like, oh, interesting. Why? And I don't have like a great explanation for that, but when we get these data points, we can kind of look and evaluate these patterns and kind of see like, well, why was it sustained higher 2 hours after your meal this day versus the day before? Before and after exercise, I think is really cool to see. If you have certain symptoms, like let's say you're very foggy. Like I have a patient recently who gets really fatigued and really tired at like 4:35 in the afternoon. So she started measuring her blood sugar, and after lunch, her sugars were something like 130, and by 4:30 in the afternoon, it was down to like 75. So that's quite the drop, 130 to 75, 55-point drop. And she felt like she needed to take a nap and like her brain wasn't functioning and these different symptoms. So that's a great time to measure. Any other symptoms during times of fatigue, during times of energy, like, boy, I feel really, really good. Let's see where my blood sugar is. During times of stress, you could get in an argument with somebody and you could measure that your blood sugar has gone up because it's elevated cortisol, your body's stress hormone, which raises blood sugar, and all these different things that we can learn. So when to measure, the more data that you collect, the better that you can see trends. Now, I will point out to people, I've done like little note cards. It's pretty ghetto. Now the new Keto Mojos are all Bluetooth to your phone, and so it tracks on an app and different things, and it's pretty cool. But I've just done note cards. I've had patients bring me literally years of Excel spreadsheets of their blood sugar every single day, and I'll like look at the notes, and there'll be a week straight of I was on vacation in Hawaii, I was on vacation in Hawaii. I was like, wow, these numbers are pretty good. And so they're that committed is the point that they're even doing it while they're on vacation in Hawaii. We have our features through our office where we have food journals and different journals that you can submit your blood sugar numbers to us. We have a lot of patients do that. But the more data you collect, the more trends you can establish. So you can see how meal timing affects you, different periods of intermittent fasting or stopping eating sooner and different things like that. How different macronutrient contents affect you. So a high carb day versus a medium carb day versus a low carb day versus a high fat versus a high protein, and you can play around with it and see how different things affect you. So how to measure, that's the easy part. So I'm going to show you an example. So I have 2 meters. This is one of my meters. It's the Keto Mojo. It's the one that we recommend now because the other one it's a little bit harder to find, and Keto Mojo does a great job. Now, Keto Mojo is about $50 because you're getting ketone measuring and blood sugar measuring. You can absolutely go to Walmart or Walgreens and get just a regular glucometer for considerably less money, but this is just a phenomenal one. So let's take a look. So here's what you do. You stick a strip in. All meters work the same. You stick a strip in, it lights up, and now I'm going to prick my finger. You guys don't get to see that part, but that's the crappy part. It's not bad, but that's, of course, the part that people complain about. So I got a little drop of blood here. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm putting it on my meter. You want to make sure you have enough blood. The worst thing is not having enough blood because the strip gets an error report. So I'm at 85 right now. Oh, it just turned off. Let's turn it back on so you can see it. 85, and it is, middle of the afternoon. And yeah, 85. I don't put a lot of weight into the hematocrit and hemoglobin numbers. My hematocrit's 32%. That's not accurate. It's not 32%. That's pretty stinking low. But yeah, 85, pretty average number there. And so that's how you measure blood sugar. So the bottom line is get a meter, start doing it. We'll have people measure, like they're waking up at 3 in the morning. Like, well, gosh, measure your blood sugar. Figure out why you're waking up there. I've established trends more recently of like, gosh, why are my numbers lower in the morning and a little bit higher in the afternoon? And kind of some adrenal disruption there of like I'm getting some cortisol dysregulation and different things. But when you measure, you get to learn your body, and we can find out a ton about how and why your body's responding the way that it is. And from there, we can try different things to move it in a healthier direction.